right, so hello everybody. My name is Elena Weth. I'm currently the Star Principal Herald for the Kingdom of Onsteora, and today I am going to teach a short class on demystifying the College of Heralds and Scribes. So I'm going to try to explain exactly what the college is, how it's structured, why it's structured that way, and then take any questions that you may have on the college as a whole or the college here in Onsteora. To give a little bit of background, I've been playing in the SEA since late 2012. I got into Scribal arts very early on, and I tripped over a decision meeting in, I think, 2015, and got into, discovered it was fun, so I started participating in submission heraldry and just kind of lucked into the position I have now. So I will actually, I'm going to first share a screen, and it is a, let's see, I will share a screen as soon as I figure out how to. Excellent, there we go. So what this is it is actually an organization chart for the college here in Onsteora. Once I click share. I have no idea how big or small these words are. But one of the first things I discovered when taking on the position of Star Principal Herald is that my warrant roster is terrifying because there are 63 positions in the College of Heralds and Scribes. And I had always understood the college as an actual college, and I do, mundanely, I have worked in academia. I worked for a teaching hospital for the state, and so I was very comfortable with the idea of departments and kind of colleges within colleges, and that's absolutely the take I have to go with when I look at the College of Heralds and Scribes, because we have many different departments, and there are many different individuals within those departments. You can really look at it as like 9 departments, and then those underneath. So I will go ahead and briefly explain what everything is and what they're supposed to be doing. So first, there is me and my emergency replacement. We kind of try to keep the ship going. We try to keep everybody energized, keep everybody informed, help work out any issues, and really just cheerlead for the college. And then keep abreast of any changes that are coming down the pipe from society, see what other kingdoms are doing, especially right now when we're all virtually heralding. So it is very interesting. I'm seeing Kaysen only has 46 officers, so we have you beat by a few. So my deputy is thankfully somebody who can help me keep track of all the things going on. So within the College of the Heralds and the College of Scribes are often, they're separate entities, but they are all under the same umbrella. So I'll start with the College of Heralds, and then I'll move over to the College of Scribes. And I probably could have delineated that a little differently on here, so I'll keep that in mind for my next iteration. So for our first stop, we have our locals and regional heralds. Our regional heralds are I am from the south, so I'm used to going south to north, but north to south we have equinox, eclipse, and solstice. However, some groups have opted for a no herald option, so those 3 regionals are also the local herald for anybody looking to submit heraldry or have heraldic questions for those groups. But we do have several groups who have local heralds, and they're also on my warrant. And many of our local heralds all have funny names, and that's usually the first stop for folks who are not really familiar with the SCA or the College of Heralds in general, is what is up with all the crazy names? Why can't you just be the thing you are? And some of that is, I don't know, it's just fun. It's fun to have a title. And heraldry in general is all about what was happening in the past, what was the College of Heralds doing at the time. And when you look at the college historically, heralds, pursuivants, they would have these titles that if you knew the title, you knew what that person did. And so that is something that was adopted by all of the kingdoms in society. So we're not the only ones with crazy names, but all of our crazy names are ours alone. So when we talk about equinox, eclipse, and solstice, those are our regionals, but our locals also have just as crazy awesome names. Like we have my local barony is Lochsolier, so we have the Serpentine Pursuivant. Bringelod has Halberd Pursuivant. We have Gunstone Pursuivant in Eldern Hills, Sable Storm Pursuivant in Namron. So all of our local groups, many of them have these fun titles that speak to the group that they're connected to, or have a other heraldic meaning as well. And they're all registered because that's what we do. So when a name is registered, that does mean that it's a name or a name part that has been found to have existed in period. So we have our regionals, our locals and regionals, and that's a system that I feel is fairly standard throughout all of the offices in the SCA. There's your kingdom level, your regional level, and your local level. Submissions. Submissions is probably one of the largest things that the College of Heralds does, and it's probably one of the most public-facing, the one that everybody is probably at least passingly familiar with. Our system, and not every system in the society works this way, but our system has two levels. We have our internal submissions. So when you as an individual turn in paperwork to register a name or a device or a badge, we have an internal level letter where we discuss items in Kingdom to see if we think that it's going to pass or if there are any problems that need to be fixed. And once we've discussed in Kingdom and we're like, okay, this is good to go, let's send it out to society level. We send it to our external, on our external letter, and that is handled by our Bourdieu. So asterisk is our internal, and then Bourdieu is our external. Bourdieu does have a deputy, and that deputy is Arbalist. So while Bourdieu will host our decision meetings and make sure the letter gets together and sends everything out for heralds to discuss on a society level, Arbalist is the herald that makes sure notifications are sent out and also helps with any submitter relations. If something is missing or the submitter has any kind of questions, they can go to Arbalist, and Arbalist can be that point person to answer questions, figure out what where an item is in the submission process, etc. So we have our three heralds who handle one of those large portions of what we do as a college. I probably should have done full counts now that I think about it. But yeah, so the regionals are our local heralds, all of that. We have several folks. Submissions, we have 3. Next up, we have our precedence heralds. We have 2. We have our main herald is Zodiacus. A lot of times you'll see go talk to Zod, Zodiacus. Zodiacus handles our order of precedence. And that means when you go to the OP, our OP is our order of precedence. So when an award is given, Zodiacus makes sure that it is entered into our database. Their deputy is Sable Crane. And Sable Crane specifically handles the registration of our achievements. Osteora is awesome for many reasons, but in this case, we are the only kingdom that actually has a system for registering achievements. And when I say achievements are, now to find out if I shared the entire screen or just one page, but achievements are the not just the shield shape, but all the stuff around the shield shape as well. So you have like supporters, the animals that'll be on either side, when there's a helmet and drapey bits, a motto, all of those pieces are all part of what is called an achievement. And we have this entire structure based on your rank. So as you earn different awards and you climb the ranks of the SCA, you earn different aspects, different portions of your achievement, and you can register those portions. And Sable Crane is the person who you talk to for that. They maintain the database. They make sure that nothing is terribly conflicting with anything else. They can talk you through ideas. So where Zodiacus handles all of our awards as they're given out, making sure that that information is current and correct, Sable Crane handles the achievements. Another job of Zodiacus I realized I did not mention is that when an individual moves in or out of kingdom, they can essentially send your record to your new kingdom or input your old kingdom records into our system. Because you earn an award, regardless of where you go in society, your awards will follow you. And we want to make sure that we keep our records current. So when an individual earns an award in another kingdom or moves into kingdom, they can send their information to Zodiacus, who can put you in our OP system. Education. So currently we have 3 heralds who handle education. I hope and expect that this will expand in the next few months, but currently we have Treasurer, and Treasurer handles the kind of overarching goals of our college. In truth, every herald is on some level an education herald. They should, they're there to go forth and teach others and help people through our what we do. But Treasurer is the herald who really puts a focus on making sure that we have articles and information that's readily available for anyone to access. We've just recently hired a new treasurer, and there are goals to really develop our social media presence, who I'll speak about soon, as relates to YouTube videos. So Treasurer really handles the ins and outs of all sorts of educational pursuits. They are also the individual who helps us with our Ancillary Heraldic and Scribal Symposium. They, along with Star Signet, who is the head of our College of Scribes, help us collect bids and coordinate classes for our event that focuses specifically on those heraldic and scribal arts. Now, Treasurer does have 2 deputies. We have Actuarius. So while Treasurer is worrying about all the educational things, Actuarius focuses on warranting. Being a herald kind of looks terrifying because there is this concept that you have to understand it to take the job, or you have to be familiar with all of the rules. And that is simply not the case. This is a team sport, and we are here to help each other. The goal is to know who to talk to, not having to know all the things. But Actuarius focuses on helping those who are new to heraldry become a warranted herald. And with our warranted heralds, those are the ones who are holding our offices specifically, and especially those who are holding local offices, helps them to know how the submission process works, where resources are located, etc. Right now, we are Actuaries usually hosts in-person warranting at our roundtable events as well as our heraldic and scribal events, but we are also working on online and self-paced warranting as well. The second deputy is the Arm Millery Herald. Now, Arm Millery is our librarian, the keeper of the books. We have 3 sets of physical books, physical resources that are held throughout the kingdom to help with usually in-person consultation tables. Now, a consultation table is where you can go and talk with a herald to work on getting a name or a device or a badge together to submit to be passed. These physical items, some of them do not exist on the internet yet. And so having those physical copies can be a boon for our physical events. But we can also reach out to our Millery and say, hey, will you check this book real quick to see if X exists? So they keep a set, as does Borgier, and I believe there's one other officer who keeps a stash of books, but they keep track of all of our books, and
you have
they
a set.
help us. Yes. Say again.
You have a set.
I have Borgier's set. You know what? I still haven't been able to meet up with Sable Rondell, and that could be why I don't have my own set yet. Because I still have Borgier's set.
Yeah.
We're gonna double duty.
But you're the third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star is the third one.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna have so many books. So yeah, so 3 sets. I knew there was 3 sets. I was afraid the answer was that I was supposed to have the 3rd set. But that library can be very beneficial, especially at events, but they really do help us out with our consultations. As Brian says, there's no more room in the house. No more books. Publications. So we currently have 2 heralds who are in charge of publications, and they're both new hires. So we have Obelisk. Obelisk is in charge of our website. We actually had 2 web ministers, one for the College of Heralds and one for the College of Scribes. As we, as a kingdom, shift to WordPress, it is becoming more and more likely that those 2 positions needed to shift into one. So we're looking at that shift now. But all of our resources, our how-tos, our contact lists, a listing of our awards, all of everything that is on our website is handled by Obelisk, and he is taking over the huge task of shifting us from our current site to WordPress. Sigillarius, on the other hand, is a renewed position or a renewed office, and Sigillarius will be helping us with social media. Specifically, when this office was opened, the plan was to work on our YouTube library, which does fall under education quite a bit, but I see it expanding, or I see it spanning more than just education. So we'll see where she ends up, but for now, publications, largely social media, is YouTube, but I expect that we will be doing more. We also have Silent Herald. Currently, that is an open position, but Silent Herald helps promote silent heraldry, so sign language, at our courts, both on a local and a kingdom level. So that is the main chunk of the College of Heralds. You'll notice far on the right of my chart, I do have Royal Staff. Golden Staff and Sable Scroll are both under the umbrella of the College of Heralds, but those are positions that are specifically Royal Staff. They are chosen by their majesties, and they work for their majesty. Golden Staff is their Royal Herald, and Sable Scroll is their Royal Scribe. So Robin Carrot has been very prominent with our virtual courts. Sable Scroll usually works much more behind the scenes. Currently, that is Honorable Lady Shanna and Sir Cassius Lupus. So it is 2 folks for Sable Scroll, but they are the ones who are filling out scrolls and making sure they get sent out to all of the recipients. So that is a very probably swiftly spoken overview of the College of Heralds. The College of Scribes is, like I said, they're like, we've got the College of Medicine, and then we've got the College of Nurses, the College of Health Professions. So we've got the College of Heralds, and we've got the College of Scribes. Star Signet is my huckleberry when it comes to the College of Scribes. They are the ones who everyone in the College of Scribes reports to, and then they report to me. We have regionals and locals, just like you see with the College of Heralds. So many of our local groups have Scribal guilds, So there will be locals who will often they will report to their ANS ministers, but when they need kingdom supplies like our charters, they will talk to our regionals. And our regionals will kind of keep track of what's happening in their region on the Scribal side. And unlike with the College of Heralds, College of Scribes are the northern, central, and regional, or northern, central, and southern regional scribes. Maybe that should be my thing that I do during my reign, is to give everybody crazy names that still lack them. The next office you see on this list, and it is the one that is probably closest to my heart because it was one of the first positions I took in the college, was the Insignia Deputy. Insignia Deputy is charged with educating the populace on our insignia for our awards. So they educate on how to make them, they keep track of what we need, and they help the crown collect insignia, letting people know, hey, we need Star of Merits, hey, we need, Blade of Merit insignia. This is how you make them. So they are their education, their promotion, but they go out and they help us get artisans to make and donate insignia to the crown so that the crown can then give that insignia as they give awards. We have a Scribal historian. Our Scribal historian keeps track of all of the designs that we have used in the past that we no longer use. They also keep track of generally the history of the College of Scribes. Our Special Documents Deputy. The Special Documents Deputy can take many forms. Our Special Documents Deputy largely keeps track of the verbiage that awards have and can use. Several kingdoms will have open form text for their awards, while we do have an entire document of the wording for each award and generally how it should be laid out. And it is our special documents deputies that keep that up to date. And as we have new awards created, they are the ones that we go to assist in wordsmithing the text for these new awards. And our last College of Scribes scribe officer is our Golden Scroll. For those awards that were never presented with a physical scroll, or something has happened and awards were lost, destroyed, you name it, it's like those commercials, you name it, there's probably a scroll that has gone through that thing. Golden Scroll is the one you can go to for a replacement. Often they are the ones who are charged with or know who to speak with when it comes to having scrolls refilled out and re-signed by previous royalty. But pretty much regardless of age, they can work with you to find or get replacements of scrolls made. They also keep a stock of older scrolls that have gone out, like that we do not use anymore, so that those can be filled out for awards that no longer exist or no longer in use, or it might have been the award that needs to be replaced. So the College of Scribes, the College of Heralds, it's a lot. It is a big organization, and there are a lot of moving parts, but it is a lot of fun to be involved with. Before I take us off of this giant organization chart, were there any questions about this before I go on to, random babbling about the awesomeness of Heralds and Scribes? right, so I will go back to, you can see me instead of my org chart. So the College of Heralds and Scribes it's a big organization. There are a lot of moving parts, and there are a lot of niches for different personality types, different interests. I always joke that I'm an admin herald because I like pushing paperwork. I like that sort of aspect of things. I am not your go-to if you need consultation on a name. Uh, like, so not every person has to be able to do every bit of what we do. You just have to find a thing that you like and dig in from there. I started as a scribe and I enjoyed painting charters and designing charters. And so when I think of myself and my place in the College of Scribes, I'm just a scribe who likes to design stuff for other people to paint. And there are definitely places for folks who like to do that. For those who enjoy the digging in on the wording for awards, that actually kind of falls into both College of Heralds and Scribes, because if you're looking at just making text for awards, that would be Scribes. But if you're looking at how to process and doing peerage ceremonies, that's definitely more of your vocal herald. And speaking of, there are different types of heralds. There are book heralds, those who do like the research. And even within book heralds, there are the armorial heralds, the ones who can tell you what the rules are for devices and what armory would look like in period, or what are your options. And then there are those who really like names, or really like a very specific name or a specific period. Like Adelaide is one of your go-tos. Pimpernel Herald, she's one of your go-tos for Irish names. But I have a feeling when it comes to other centuries or other places, she probably would know. So she's a bad example, but she may not know as much, because she is very knowledgeable about many things. But not every herald knows all the things about every aspect of their area, which sounds terrible. Like when you say it like that, I am not a vocal herald. You can tell. It's like I'm a teacher, but I am not eloquent. But that's why I got into submissions, because I liked helping with moving paperwork, helping people get what they want and can be excited about, and telling them how they can display their armory and helping them find that perfect period name. If you just like sharing aspects or helping others share what they're interested in, education, society-wide education is a thing, because education is huge in ANS. Education is huge here. Like we are, Kat has put together this huge thing about educating on all aspects of society. So we too have a whole area for helping expand and share the things that we've learned. And our publications, the internet has exploded, I think, even more than anyone ever expected, and the way we share and send out information is always changing. And I know that is one area that we as a college locally would love to have more people help us develop and grow, because there's just so many things now and so many things on the horizon that we would love to be able to jump in on and enjoy. And then silent heraldry, making sure that we can accommodate as much as possible, making things accessible. It's a huge deal, and it's something that I do feel that we should work on more. It's unfortunately way out of my skill set, but it is something that, between closed captioning of events, and then silent heraldry in general, those are areas that I would love to see us as a society, like society-wide, I'd love to see us do more of. And as my role of star, it's something that I can essentially put on the agenda and see what we can do about. So we're big, we have funny names, but at the end of the day, a lot of us are just here to play in a very niche geek area. And so it's all about finding that thing that you enjoy doing. Yeah, I would love to, like, if you guys have any questions about the college, about heraldry in general, about scribes, I would love to try to answer them. I will do my best. If you have society questions, I can also speak to that to some degree. Our society level heralds are set up slightly differently insofar as we have our Laurel Sovereign at Arms, who is the head of all of the college in society. They're essentially the society officer. And then she has several deputies, and they've made the switch to Emma, haven't they, Brian? Currently, Laurel lives.
They're currently transitioning.
They're transitioning
to where they're splitting the job.
Yeah, Mistress Emma in the north is taking on the crown for the next few years, and yeah, they're working on transition. But they do a lot of work with, like, they have an education deputy. They have a deputy for our website and for Oscar, which I didn't speak about here very much, but it is our the system which we collect commentary and how the sausage gets made for submissions for registering names and devices. I realize I talk with my hands a lot, and they're all like around but not in the frame. So I'm like, here, let me put it in the frame. They have deputies specifically for their submissions and the different sides of submissions. So there is a lot of parallel between how our college is set up and the way their college is set up. I think some of the main differences would be, the lack of royal staff, as well as the College of Scribes side. Everything else is, and precedence. And instead of regionals, they have kingdom level. So otherwise, a good chunk of the way we are set up does parallel the way society is set up. And they also have yearly meetings. Those are our known world Heraldic and Scribal Symposium, which there will be a mid-year Heraldic and Scribal Symposium in January. I believe it's hosted by the Kingdom of Meridies. So you'll see both heralds and scribes from across the known world getting together to share classes on all levels. You'll see your very beginning foundational informational classes all the way to classes on 16th century Dutch naming practices. And that's just, it's a very wide range. If you're interested in a thing, there's a niche for you or one that you can create, and you will be very welcomed. I do know that society is...
And they really need submissions for...
What's that?
Sorry. They really need submissions for this interim one. It's
Yes.
very sparse.
It is, and I think that there's a lot of like, well, what should I offer? What would you like me to offer? And I think some people are just trying to get through the holiday season. I know that was me. I was like, oh, let me get through the holidays. Let me get to 21, and then we'll talk about submissions. But yeah, I think that's one. I feel like our college is it's very like an extension of arts and sciences, because just like with the arts, if you like a thing, research the thing and do the thing. With heraldry, it's very similar, but the thing is slightly more limited to names and armorial or court. But you get classes on what they were wearing in processions, or what armory would look like. So it's limiting, but it's not as limited as just literal names and literal devices. What were they saying? What were they doing? What are ways that are period to, show off what you've registered? So I think that's probably why I was attracted to the college, because it is a lot like ANS, where if you find a thing in period that you like, you can hit the ground running with it, and there will be folks who are very interested in hearing your research on, like I said, 16th century Dutch, naming practices. Julie, do you have a question? Okay. I've seen you, but you haven't unmuted. You got to stop me. I'm bad about that.
We just got my husband's name back from Brian today, Master Brian, Daniel O'Sullivan Bear. Now, what happens to it from us returning it to you? It goes back up line, or?
You want me to take that one, Star?
The process.
I was about to say, Tag, you're it. You know more about this one than I do.
Yeah, the process is.
So on that name in particular, what happened was we got the name, we looked at it at Kingdom and said it looks good, except this particular name might give the presumption of being a clan chieftain. But we sent it up to Society anyway to let them make that rule. In this case, the Society Heralds looked at it, and Pelican, who is in charge of reviewing all the names, Pelican Queen at Arms, said, we do think that this name is presumptuous of being a clan chieftain. Here are things that are very similar, but not quite this. It, changed up the order of the name, or it made something locative instead of being of the clan. And so sent back that list of whatever it was, half a dozen or so suggestions. And y'all were Johnny on the spot, got a response real quick, which I really appreciate, and I know they do too. And so they that got sent back up to Viscountess Elizabeth, who is the Pelican Queen. So that will not get returned. By doing that, it actually saves you about 4 months of reprocessing. Because if you give no response and we can't change it, or if you say, no, I really want my name, they're going to return it and you're going to have to file an appeal. In this case, by saying, I'll take this thing that's close but not exactly what I submitted, it should be coming up in the next 3 months, maybe, depending on, so it'll be 2 months of proofreading. I don't know exactly when this meeting was or if the meeting's happened yet, but that should be coming out in the next, as short as 2 months, as long as 4 to 5 months. But it's already at Society, it's staying at Society. Society will make that change and should register it, provided nothing crazy happens between now and then.
What about the other 2 names I submitted? Have those been kicked down, or?
We can take that offline. If you send me an email at borger@heralds.onsteora.org, and I'll put it in the chat. Give me the specific names and I'll check and see where they're at.
Okay. I was just wondering.
I think everything got sent up to Society, but I don't recall off the top of my head, because I know y'all sent up like 3 names at the same time. So yeah, shoot me an email. I'm going to put my email in the chat and I will look that up for you probably tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the one thing with the submissions in general. If we can fix a thing before kicking it back, then it keeps you on track. If they have to essentially reject it, you then have to start part of the process over. So yeah, being able to get back with him with a decision on a change helps a lot. For sure.
Well, I do open records requests for our police department, so those have to happen fast.
Yeah.
So if you email me, you get a response back during a business day within 15 minutes.
So would you like a position with the college? Yeah, I know that our societies usually gives 1 to 2 weeks because they'll go through and they kind of prepare meeting notes, and then they'll have a meeting, and then they give themselves, I think, a week or two to essentially contact submitters like yourself, see if they're willing to, seeing if there's any wiggle room, and then making final decisions. So I would actually say it's probably closer to the 3-month to hearing something. But I can see if I can find the letter. Brian probably knows. Were they all submitted at the same time?
Yep.
Okay. So they'll probably all be.
And I had the audacity to pick out a name of some C-list Scottish singer.
Oh, I think I remember that one. It happens.
Hey, my people go back hundreds and hundreds of years. These are all family names we chose. This isn't, kind of out there. I mean, these are all our names,
Yeah,
somewhere.
no, absolutely. I know when I chose my name, I just wanted something that meant left-handed, and I found one that meant left-handed and or clumsy. And as my husband can attest, it was perfect. So
No comment.
yeah, everybody has different ways in which they approach naming names, and that's one of the things I really enjoy about heraldry in general, is talking to folks who approach it in different ways and finding out what's important for them and what they want to run with. I'm not necessarily a very social person, but with heraldry, it gives me a reason to be social. I know that it's a weird thing, but it gives me something to talk about, and then you learn a lot about people on that, like when you're talking to them about what's important to them about a name or a device. Let's see, I'm trying to see if I can spy. But yeah, it has been a minute, so. Oop. Yeah, our general timeline is about 9 months, and if you were able to get back with an answer on something, that timeline won't have changed. Yeah, the only time is when they don't hear back or when there's no way they can fix something. Those are usually the only times that things get full on kicked back. I'm going through our slides. I'm like, do I have anything that's pertinent? No. Okay.
The very last slide in our class has the timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. So Brian and I joint teach a class on submissions, and so yeah, I was looking at that one.
Yeah, that would be interesting because I know people always ask me, why does it take so long?
Yeah. And so we do actually have a general timeline, and so it's based on submitting heraldry on January 1st. Don't do that to anyone, please. But the idea is that if our locals will usually submit the paperwork that they collect on usually around mid-month, around the 15th, they'll submit those to
Asterisk.
Yeah, they'll submit those. Sorry. So when I share screen, everything goes away, and I saw that there was a chat, and it was you mentioning everything went well. Okay, but I just saw this yellow, like orangey yellow, like, oh my God, there's a chat thing here. Okay, look. So things go to Asterisk. Asterisk collects everything, and once a month he creates that internal letter. And like I mentioned, our society. Our submissions is a 2-pronged process. We have our internal letters, and we have those once a month, and they last for 30 days. And that's where we seek commentary on a lower level, just saying, hey, are we seeing any issues? Do we think that this is good to submit? So a letter will be open. If you submit January 1st, it's probably going to be on that February letter. The letter's usually published the first week. Our deadline is by the 10th, which means it's open for a month. It closes the 10th on the next month. We have a meeting the Sunday after the meeting closes. So sometimes that is the next day, sometimes that is 6 days later or 7 days later. But within a week of the letter closing, we have a decision meeting that's hosted by Bourdieu. And we will go through every item that has been submitted, names, devices, badges, household names. We've also had Kingdom Award names and Kingdom Award devices have gone. We'll go through this process as well. Everybody is welcome to those meetings. You don't have to have an item on the letter to show up. This is how, like when I say I tripped into meetings, this was how. I just showed up and didn't leave. I kept coming back to learn how the system worked. So we have that meeting, and Bourdieu will collect all of our final decisions on the items, and he publishes, or in this case but they publish a letter called the external letter, and that letter is our kingdom letter to society. We're telling all of the Heralds of the Society, hey, this is the stuff that we want to try to register. Please look at it over the next 3 months. Let us know if there are any problems. And, Laurel, please register these items if there are no glaring issues. Bourdieu will also publish a letter of decision, and that is our internal letter of decision. That's where we say, we have sent these up to Laurel for commentary and decision. Unfortunately, we've had to send these items back to submitters for review, or we've had to pin items for further work. But anything that happens at that meeting, essentially it's similar to meeting minutes without all of our silliness. It's really just the bullet points of this is what was decided for each item. And our arbalist will notify submitters on that LOD, like, hey, Kingdom has sent your stuff up, or hey, Kingdom is having you further work on this so that we can try again. The letter lasts for 3 months. Whoops, there we go. I cannot scroll even though I want to. So letter is published March 30th. We give it 3 months. So commentary for that letter would end July 30th. Within about 2 weeks, society will have a meeting. The way society meetings work is there's one meeting for armory and one meeting for names. They split it up for 2 reasons. One, because it is most people who study heraldry will focus on one or the other, but also if there are any appeals will go to the other side of the college. So if I have a device that's rejected, if I appeal to society, then the folks who normally do names will review that rejection and my appeal letter and make a decision. They have meetings. They are separate meetings, but they are usually held within 2 weeks of a letter closing. Then there is a proofreading period that's usually about 2 months. And that is about 2 months is because the society meetings cover every letter that was that closed within that month period. So every letter that closed in July is covered in that August 15th meeting. It's a lot. I do help some of the proofreading. I'm not very good at it. I'm still very new, so I'm mostly like checking for typos at this point, but they have 2 passes, one to make sure that the decisions are clear and follow the actual rules, and then one for proofreading, making sure that I's are dotted and T's are crossed. From there, once all those decisions are finalized, the letter is published, and that letter is called the Letter of Acceptances and Returns. And that letter is the one that is the official, yes, it's been registered letter. And that is from Laurel. And Laurel goes through and says, we are accepting all of these items, and then we are returning for further work all of these items. And it is listed by kingdom, all of the acceptances, and then all of the returns. And all of those are published to mailing lists, and they're published on Society's website. Our Arbalist, our kingdom notifications herald, will then look at that letter and notify the individuals, hey, congratulations, your stuff has been officially made official, or hey, unfortunately, we need to work on some things. And what it sounds like is that what you did was you were in that society decision meeting stage, and they had a question, hey, can we tweak this? And you said yes. So you are now in the proofreading stage, which is why I think in 2 to 3 months you'll be officially official.
One note on those letters, just because the LOAR is published in October, it will not be called the October LOAR. It's called, the date of the letter is based on when the decision meeting is held. So the October published letter is actually called the August letter of acceptances and returns. It confuses literally everyone and me until about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and I've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, it's the letter of acceptances and returns for those items we discussed on that date. But yeah, so that is our general, like I said, we've got an hour class on this, which I think we've put on the website. I can't remember. We need to get that on the website or on our YouTube. That is a kind of brief timeline. Oops.
I haven't seen it on YouTube, but I never can go past the first class because I keep trying to audit it.
Okay, I'll see if I'll talk to Sinclair, see, make her fix it.
I'm not sure ours got put on when I did it for
That's right, but we re-recorded it.
And did we actually get that recording from Stargate?
Not yet.
Because that was only like 2 weeks ago. So I need to talk to Stargate and see if they get that recording. So Julie, I don't know if you saw the chat. I went ahead and checked all the names real quick. Y'all are good to go. Looking at Society will put out whether y'all's other names are okay when Daniel's name comes out. But there were no issues that came up in commentary.
Right, so we are just at 8 o'clock, but we are more than happy to answer questions either here or offline. That is one thing we do. We talk too much.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to teach the class tonight. I definitely learned a lot. I knew that there were a lot of offices in the college, but I did not know it was that expensive. So
yeah, I didn't either. Like when I took the office, I was like, oh, that's more than I realized. Once you look at the list, it's like, oh, that is as many. We are Legion. We are the College of Heralds and Scribes.
absolutely.
I will go ahead and end the recording here. You can chop it up as you wish, but definitely thank you for the opportunity. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you so much for teaching.